Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Ground to get real life topics from biblical perspective. My name is Brian Boyd. Today's topic is prevention. And everyone, as always, I hope you had an amazing week. And before we jump into this episode, please be sure to like and follow the Grounded Podcast, whatever platform you have to be listening on. And with that being said, y'all, let's jump into the topic of prevention. And the reason why I named this prevention specifically is because I've come to the harsh reality that the reason why we don't get the things that we're after in life and the time that we expect to get them in is because we're simply not in a place to receive those things. And to talk about this tonight specifically, I want to be coming from 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. And it reads that the Lord is not slow in keeping his promise, as some understand slowness. Instead, he is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but everyone to come to repentance. And just a quick overview of this verse from a spiritual level. The promise that Peter is talking about is the promise that Christ is going to come back. And he's basically saying here in this verse that the reason why Jesus has not come back, the reason why God has not sent his son back to get his people is because he's waiting on as many people as possible to get saved before that time. So basically put, God isn't waiting. We're not waiting on God, but God is waiting on us to get right with him. And at this particular time, people were getting frustrated with the return because they heard about the glory of Christ. They heard about the gift of salvation. They received the gift of salvation. But at the same time, they were getting frustrated with the fact that God did not send his son back. And Peter is basically saying that God is waiting on everybody else to get right too, so he can send him back and he could get more people when that time comes. And when you look at this in a literal perspective, it makes me think about life because there are so many people in today's time. They're doing everything to achieve the goals that they're after. They're putting in so much time, effort, energy, you name it, they pretty much done it. But it doesn't seem like all of the stuff that they're putting in is actually achieving the stuff that they're after. And I'm here to tell you tonight, and even from a personal experience, I've come to understand that the reason why we don't get the things that we're after, despite the amount of work that we're doing and the time that we want them to come, is because we're not in a place to receive them. We may simply not be ready. And I've come down into three reasons why that may be the case. And the first of which, everyone, is that sometimes in life, if we don't get the things that we're after, it's because if we get them too fast or we get them too easy, we may not be able to keep them. And to talk about this, I'm going to be using Proverbs 13 and 11 because it reads that wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. And basically, everyone, this verse is basically saying that fast money goes fast. But if you build money slow, incrementally over time, that's how you get true wealth. And when I think about this, I just think about life in general, because when you look at it, when you get things fast, you typically don't value the stuff that you get. But if you spent years of just hard work, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into getting this thing, and you took step by step, you went through obstacle by obstacle, you went through struggle by struggle to get this thing, that's the thing that you truly value. And when it comes to us in life, sometimes we have to come to the understanding that things in life that happen, the stuff that happens when it seems like just petty stuff will come and befall us, or, people are getting away of us achieving our goals. We have to understand that all of those things, whether they're good or bad, come for a reason. And it's like I said last week, everything in this world happens for a reason. It happens in the time that it's supposed to. And the reason why these things are happening in this particular time is because they're preparing us for the future that we're about to step into. And when you look at this from a literal perspective, you have to understand that in order for you to hold a position, you have to have the experience in order to navigate through that position. And even when it comes to a position of leadership, you can't just be dropped into a place and expect to know how to lead a group of people. That's a step, and those are journeys that you have to take through time. You have to go through trials. You have to go through struggles. You have to go through learning what it means to be a leader and how to manage other people. Yes, you can get the position, but the question is, can you handle the position that you're going to be in? Can you maintain the position once you get it? Because that's where the real true is. That's where the real reward is. That's where the value is in, not necessarily getting to the position, but being in the state to either maintain or go past that position that you're in. And even when I think about this, I think about the story of David, because David was anointed the king at the age of 16, but he didn't become king until the age of 30. And in between those 14-year time periods, David went through anything that you could possibly consider. He slayed the giant Goliath. He became a fugitive in his own country. He was running from his king, which is also his father-in-law, that was trying to kill him because he knew that David was going to replace him on the throne. And he just went through a number of numerous stuff, man. He got to a point to where David was alone in a cave and the people had gathered to him because they were looking for him to lead them. I mean, think about this. You're in a situation where you had everything, you lost everything, you became a fugitive in your own country, and you flee to a cave, and then you have people in the midst of your darkest hour, in the midst of you, in the regret of you losing everything, people are gathering to you to lead them. And even with that, the people that he led out of that cave, the people that he was over at that time became the mighty men in Israel at that point. In those darkest times, that's where he became a true leader. That's how he was able to rule those people. And I bring up that story to bring up the summary that if you want to achieve greatness in life, if you want to truly be great and you want to truly be successful, you can't do those things without trials. You can't do those things without struggles. And you can't get those things fast and easy, because if you take the fast and easy route, you'll miss all of the experiences that were preparing you to step into the position that you're going in. So if you're one of those people and you're going through one of those tough times in life right now, understand that those things are not there to hinder you. Those things are preparing you to step into the position that you're going in. And no matter how much work, time, and effort that you're putting into, don't take those things in vain. Continue to do the stuff that you're doing. Keep pushing, because eventually you're going to hit that threshold and you're going to walk. But if you give up right now, you won't be able to step into that thing. So with that being said, to summarize this point, work with everything in you and understand that even though it may be slow, even though it may be steady, if you keep going, you'll win the race. And moving right along, the second point here that I want to bring up is that sometimes in life, when it comes to us not stepping into the stuff in the time that we're supposed to, whatever, sometimes it's simply due to a lack of experience. We may not have the experience to handle it. And that is also a harsh truth, but I think it comes down to two reasons. And the first of which is that you don't know what you truly don't know. And that's the thing that comes from the thing where you truly believe that you're ready for something. You believe that you've done all of this work. You put in the time, the effort, the money. You put in all of the knowledge. You've done any and everything to achieve the thing. And you think that you're completely ready for this thing. But in reality, and the harsh reality of this is that you may actually not be. And when I think about this, even when I come back to the form of leadership, there are a lot of people that think that they're ready to manage these things. There are people that believe that they put the time and effort in, that they're able to manage large companies, that they're able to manage six-figure salaries, that they're able to manage a large family. They're able to get married and to have children and do all of these things. But sometimes in these situations, you just truly don't know what those things actually entail. And even for me, from a personal perspective, one of the things I've wanted since I was the age of 17 was that I always wanted marriage, right? But it took me at the age now of 25 to realize just how serious marriage is, just how serious it is to have a wife, just how serious it is to have kids, just how serious it is to be a provider, to be a protector, to be a visionary, to be a teacher, to be all of these things for my future family. But even in that perspective, you don't know what you don't know. And even at the age of 23, I thought I was ready. Like, I had fresh out of college, I got a career and everything. I thought I was ready to have a family and do all of these things. But the reality of it was, I didn't even know what it meant to be a husband. And even when it comes to us in life, we have to be able to understand, and we have to realize that you simply can't know what you don't know. And you can't beat yourself up for that. You can't put it down on yourself. You can't put yourself down, without the realization that you just may not have the experience to walk in that position. But instead, the way to overcome this is to surround yourself with people that are in the place that you want to be, because it's through those people that you're going to understand exactly what it takes for you to be in that role yourself. And even with that, there's so many other resources that you could get. You could get books, you could get audio books, you could get podcasts, online courses is something that's taken up right now. Whatever it is that you have to do, make sure that you overcome that knowledge gap and make sure that you have those experiences, because one thing that I've realized too in life, that you don't always have to struggle to get the experiences that you need. You could get that through simple learning and advice and mentorship from other people. Moving right along, though, the second thing in this particular thing when it comes to the relation of experience is that you could be on the opposite side of this thing. And I know I've been on this a couple times in life, and that is simply knowing what to do and simply not doing it. And even when you go back to 2 Peter 3 verse 9, it says that God doesn't want anyone to perish, but he wants everyone to come to repentance. And in this particular thing, the word repentance means to reform, reverse, or change. And what happens right now is that people in that particular situation, they knew what to do. They knew the gospel of salvation. They knew that Jesus was who he said he was. But at the same time, they didn't want to change to receive the gift of salvation. And when you think about that in a literal sense, there are things as people, either consciously or subconsciously, that we know we're supposed to do. And we know that if we do those things, they will help further our goals. But the thing is, we may not, for whatever reason, want to do those things to get there. And even when I think about this as far as education and as far as passive income, because there's so much stuff that we can do out here today that could have us basically doing the things that we love to do, to have us making constant streams of income. But the thing is, even in the midst of all of this knowledge and all of this understanding, there's still instances where we may not have the energy, or we may not put forth the energy to go and do these things. And even when it comes to that, that stuff may simply just be hard things to do. But, understanding that the gain that we'll get from it is far more valuable than the effort that we put into that is the key to us overcoming that barrier. And even when it comes to things that you don't want to do, understanding that the end result is going to leave you in a much better position than where you are right now should give you the motivation that you need to accomplish that thing. And that's typically how you overcome that particular goal of you knowing what to do, but not necessarily changing. And in some cases, in some worst case scenarios, people have to hit a low point in life. You have to hit your lowest low. You have to hit the bottom of the struggle in order for you to realize and finally make up the decision in your mind to change. And that's what's so critical about the concept of repentance, because repentance is literally a change of mind. You're changing the way that you think. It's not just some religious task. It's more so an action that you have to constantly walk in. Because if you want to be better in life, you have to constantly change the way that you think. All the things that are bad in your mind, you have to start casting those things away and replacing them with good things. That's where the concepts of affirmations come from, because so many years people had the mentality of tearing themselves down, to telling them that they wasn't capable, that they wasn't able to make it, and those thoughts started to stick with them. But what we see today, even in the form of affirmations, is things telling people that they are amazing, that they are incredible, that they can do any and everything that they're after. And that right there is a form of changing your mind. And even from a spiritual perspective of us, our ultimate goal as believers is to have the same mind that Jesus Christ has, to have that mind to walk in humility, to walk in love, to walk in salvation, and to walk in the faith that we have in God. That's our ultimate goal as believers. And that's something that takes a lifetime to happen. This isn't just a one-time thing. This is a continual thing. But once again, in order to move into that space, we have to not only know what to do, but we also have to take actionable steps towards achieving those things, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply that to your life, it won't do you any good at all. And once again, to simplify this particular point, if you want to be a person that overcome those things, you have to take those steps, and you have to do whatever it takes for you to put forth the action to get that thing. So if you have to motivate yourself, you have to do that. If you have to do that in the form of other people, if you have to have an accountability group of people pushing you to go and do those things, get those people. But whatever it is you have to do, if it's going to give you a greater return than the effort that you're putting in now, you have to do that. And with that being said, y'all, that pretty much concludes this episode. And if I do just a quick summary once again, one of the things that I mentioned early on in this episode, that the reason why we don't get the things that we're after in life and the time that we want to get those things is because we're often not in a position to receive them. And once again, sometimes that comes from the perspective of sometimes we're just not ready to get those things for whatever reason or another. And usually the first reason I've come to understand once again is that if you get that thing too fast or you get it too easy, you will not be able to keep it. And that just reminds me of the reason why we go through struggles, because like I said, those things that we go through, whether they're good or bad, they're meant to build us up and push us into the next level, because you cannot be dropped into a position and expect to maintain the position if you don't have the proper experience. And when it comes to life, you just have to understand once again that if you're in those situations, to understand that the things that you're after will come. They will eventually break through. You will break that threshold. But in that time that you're going in right now, you simply have to endure and enjoy the journey that comes along with it. And once again, look at the glass half full instead of half empty. Always recognize the positive in whatever situation that you're facing. I know that's so much easier said than done. It's so hard to look at a bad situation in a good light, but the more you do and the more you change your perspective, the more that you realize that it's preparing you for the future that you're about to walk into. And the second thing that comes to mind when it comes to us not getting the things that we want in life, that may just boil down to not having the experience necessary to walk into that thing. And once again, the first thing in that special is that you can't know what you don't know. And in order for you to overcome that barrier in life, you have to surround yourself continually with people or resources that's going to show you the things that you don't know in order for you to walk into the thing that you're going into. And even from a ministry standpoint, even with me and my journey following God and all, there are so many things that I did not know about the Bible until recently. But it wasn't until I surrounded myself with the right people and the right mentors that was willing to teach me and show me the way that I was able to walk into those things. And you even kind of see that with Grounded, like the lighting setup and all of this stuff. This came from being around people that were experienced in the field of videography and cinematography. And the results speak for themselves. But once again, you don't know what you don't know, so you have to surround yourself with people that do. And last but not least, the point that comes from another lack of experience is that you may know what to do, but you're simply not doing it. And that comes once again with the things of changing your mind. You have to change your mindset. You have to realize that everything is possible, that the things that you imagine in your mind are right, and you have to step into those actions that you believe. You have to go beyond them knowing that this thing is good. You have to actually do those good things, because those are the things that are going to get you. And the only two ways for you to do this is to either find motivation in the fact to count the cost and realize that the end goal that you're after is greater than where you are right now. Or two, the more harsh route of this is hitting the lowest low that you could possibly hit to get sick and tired of being sick and tired and rise up and accomplish what you know to already do. But either way, you have to step into whatever it is, and you have to have actionable steps that you can take to get to where you need to be. And with that being said, y'all, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. And if you sure did, please be sure to like and share this video across social media. And if you're one of my amazing listeners, please be sure to follow the Grounded Podcast for more content like this. And with that being said, y'all, I'm getting out of here. I love you all so much, and y'all take care, and I will see y'all next week. All right, my name is Brian Boyd, and I'm signing off. Peace.